The next question is, who is your ideal customer? Now, we're going to go through the process of getting inside the head and heart of your ideal customer. You'll need to be able to virtually read their minds. That is, you'll need to know exactly what they're thinking, what their problems are, what their insecurities are, all these things that they're thinking about to successfully sell to them. We need to know exactly who they are and what they want. Even if you know your niche well, you should still follow my advice here, because you will find out a lot more about them once you go through this process. Now, as I started to talk to women, as I said before, from all walks of life, using the chat rooms and other areas, I gained a lot of extra insights on exactly who my ideal customer was. I deemed that there were many more types of women that I would have originally thought of, and more came to light as my business grew. I listened to my customers, and I looked at the feedback I was getting on my website. So it's a good idea to do this, even if you're an expert in your market. More angles covered equals more money in your pocket. For example, my original ideal customer, I thought, was in her 40s, separated or divorced, lonely, and thoroughly undernourished. Now, as time went by, all these other sub-niches and markets started to emerge. For example, there were young women who wanted a safe place to experiment without judgment. Now, I wouldn't have thought that in a million years. Now, it was apparent, and very apparent, that pretty much 30 or 40% of my business were women under 25 wanting to experiment without judgment, just wanting to try things in a safe and nourishing environment. So voila, another hungry market to promote to. So I started talking to these women in their language, solving their particular issues, and I had another whole facet to my business. So this is a market I didn't even consider existing at first, as I said. By doing in-depth research and by paying attention to my market and its needs and the feedback I got, I discovered this very lucrative section and started to promote to them too. If you're making your own product, the process will be pretty much the same as if you're promoting someone else's product. Now, the first thing is to gather demographic information. The more you know about your exact customer, the more you can create a definite line for them to follow in your sales copy and positioning. For example, if you know that your dating product is targeted at men between 35 and 45 who are divorced, etc., etc., you can write your pieces exactly with them in mind. Know who they are so you can speak the language they understand. You can then use the jargon within the market or the words that they will relate to help them feel more comfortable with you, your product, or your service. For example, if you're selling motorbike accessories for Harley-Davidson bikes, you would use certain jargon or wording that is succinct with motorbikes. If you are selling a weight loss product to mums who've just had a baby, you would speak to them very differently to the bike guys, right? So how do you gather this information? Well, you can use blogs, you can use forums, answer sites, Wikipedia, etc. Anywhere online your market is gathering and conversing. There are also a number of free resources on the net that allow you to get this info. The first thing I do is I find a successful website in my niche. And you can easily do that if you've got a big enough market. The best thing to do is, if you have your own product, is to find something similar that has lots of traffic going to it. If you're promoting someone else's product, you will use their sales page as your source perhaps. You'll see what I mean in a minute. The first site you go to is alexa.com. I will now open up that on my screen. I'll stop this video right now and we'll get into that in the next video. See you there.